Hi, I'm Abby. I'm going to just go over a really quick video on how to search VAERS, which is the VAERS.hhs.gov website. This is the vaccine adverse injury reporting service. So you can go there and report any sort of injuries that you have from any vaccine, but we're tracking it pretty closely, the COVID vaccines. So I'm going to teach you how to search COVID vaccines and give you the basics of it and just show you how to do that. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go to the website, which is what I just read to you. So we're going to go to the VAERS. So it's VAERS.hhs.gov. Okay, so let me just start there and we'll go backwards. Okay, so you're going to just type in that website. It will take you to here. What you want to do is you want to go to the VAERS data and click on that. This is how I do it, at least. And then scroll down here and you have two options. I always do the first option because I want to search. I don't need to download data. I do screenshots and I label them so that you can see what they are. So check the blocks. And then before you have access of actually searching the data, you have to agree to their little disclaimer here. So I agree. And then I go to VAERS data search. Okay, I don't do report data details. If you have a report number, then you can do the report data details, but it's going to ask you for the actual VAERS ID, and that's for a specific report. So you can use that if you have entered your own report and you want to make sure that it's been logged. I can teach you that another day. But so first of all, there's tons of different categories here, so you can get very specific with your searches, which is kind of cool. I keep just it to real basic for me. I always, if I'm doing a search for all vaccines, I do it by event category because it just will show you the basics: death, life-threatening, and then all the other basic categories. However, if you're searching for specific things on the COVID vaccine and you want to see the actual descriptors of the reports, then the way to do it is you go to VAERS ID. So it's going to be listed by the entries of who, they don't put the person's name, they label them with an ID number. So I'm going to categorize it by VAERS ID. And then if I just want to list a quick list of how many people as of today have entered vaccine injuries, then I just the VAERS ID is when I do the descriptions, if I want specific descriptions of specific injuries. So let's start with that, and then I'll show you how I do the basic report. Here's the title. So depending on what you want to, label it, you don't need to label it anything as long as you know what you're searching. But since I do screenshots, I like to label it to show people, what I'm actually searching. And that's usually the only thing that I change on the table is the name of the table. So that's just advice for you. So here is on number 3 section. Section 2, I don't do anything. Section 3 is the actual vaccines. So you can search by all vaccines or specific vaccines. Since this is about COVID vaccines, I do COVID vaccines. And this is both of them. This is, and it will probably be all 3 of them once they add the other, or 4 of them if they do the Johnson & Johnson. But this is right now just as of what is today, the 29th or the 30th of January. Right now they're only tracking, because they're the only 2 on the market, are the Moderna and the Pfizer mRNA vaccines. Okay, so this is by the manufacturer, which I don't do. I don't do doses either, and you can if you want, and you can do by lot number if you happen to know the lot number. 4, I always do all territory or all locations. Because everyone can report to VAERS from other countries, and I just want to see, most people only in the US report to it. This is open to anyone to report to it. Doctors are supposed to report to it. Most doctors don't, whether it's because they don't know about the VAERS system, reporting system, or if they just choose not to. I don't know. But those are the only 4 sections that I do. Okay, so I do all locations in section 4. I do the actual COVID vaccines under section 3. Section 2, I don't do anything. And in section 1, I do VAERS ID. And if you read this, it says when grouping by VAERS IDs, results will initially display with events reported, % total. So that kind of tells you that. I'm going to do the adverse event description so that I can actually see a description of what the person entered when they reported it. I click the save or the send, I'm sorry, and you can do send on any of the sections. I just happen to be at section 1, so I hit send. It's searching. There's a lot. I think there's 9,000 reports, so that's why it's taking a while, and it's going to be really large. So the smaller reports, so this is how I want it to show. See how it's smaller, it's easier to read. This is what I want, but what they've been defaulting, and it may default to it in front of our eyes, it gets really big. And the reason is because there's so many reports that they give as much space as they can. So it opens it as wide as my computer screen, and then it's really hard to screenshot. I can't screenshot that. But with this, I can screenshot it. So this is all of them, and these are the VAERS numbers. This is how they're categorized. And then these are the adverse, what they write in there is their description for their adverse event. It can be anywhere from a headache to soreness on the site, which all of these should be, and there it just did it. So it just expanded it, and it's really big now. I can't do a screenshot, and it's really hard to save in a PDF form because it only does the size of the screen. So these have gotten harder, and I think it may be a default of the actual website because there's so many reports, so they try to fit too many on there. But if you see, it says the results are for 9,845 total events. If you want to make that smaller, go back. And what I do is see it's holding it in the sections I want. I go back, and what I do is I do just deaths. So under section 5, we've done 4, 3, 1. And now if you want to add in section 5, I can just do deaths. I could just do, I did this yesterday, birth defects and cognitive abnormalities. You could do permanent disabilities, life-saving. So the smaller the category, so there are 11 in the birth defects one. If I hit send here, it will show it in the format that's easy to screenshot. See, and there's only 11 of them only, but yeah, so this is why it's easy, and I can just screenshot. And then what I would do is normally I would label this. So if I go to more options, I could label this and say birth defects from COVID vaccine January, and then I'll put the date just so that everyone knows as of today, change table. And that's the only difference that would change. And see, it comes up here, birth defects from COVID vaccine, January 30th. So as of January 30th, these are the birth defects. So I do that so that when I do a screenshot, it's labeled, and then I'll just do a screenshot of all of them. That's how I do it. Let me show you how I quickly do a report on all injuries from COVID vaccine, and it's just under event categories. So you can see how many deaths, how many life threatenings, how many birth defects, and so forth. I'm just hitting the back arrow. I'm going to go back to here, and instead of VAERS ID, I want to go back to the event category. So these are the event categories: death, life threatening, birth defects, so forth. Okay, this is what they give. These are the options they give to people when they go to do a report. I'm going to undo the adverse events description. I don't need the description. I'm going to just do it by the event category. Just check and make sure I have it right. I'm going to just do vaccines, the COVID vaccine. I'm going to do nothing on section 3, which is, or just that part on section 3, the COVID vaccine. And then I'm going to go to all locations. I'm going to go to all events because I don't want to limit it to just death. And then that's it. Okay, so then I can just go back either to the top or to any of these ones and say send, and it's going to come up with like a little chart. Now this chart is just really small. Again, I should label it just so people know what it says. So COVID vaccine injury report as of January 30th. Okay, so I'm going to just change the table. That's the only thing I'm changing is the title comes up here, and then there it is. So as of today, this is updated every Friday, so it's the same as what I had yesterday, but 329 deaths have been reported. And what I would do is I would screenshot this. I have a Mac, so to screenshot, I do Command-Shift-4, and then I can just do a screenshot of that. And then it goes onto my desktop, and then I can share it with people. So yes, the number has gone up 10,884 since yesterday. So, but that's how I use VAERS. Now it's got tons of different search engines. You can search so many different ways. Like I've shown you, you can reach out to me if you have something very specific. Like I had a girlfriend who had all her medical records from her military experience, and she had lot numbers on there. So I could search lot numbers to see how many incidences were reported on those specific lot numbers, and she could see how many people like reported injuries from the same lot number that she had, because she suspected she had vaccine injuries from her military vaccines. So if you have those medical records, you can go back, search a specific lot number to see if other people reported injuries on that. You can report injuries to the VAERS system anytime. There is no statute of limitations of when you can enter them. However, there is a statute of limitations on if you want to seek any sort of compensation from the vaccine court. And it's very difficult to go through vaccine court, but you have 2 years, I believe, for a death to report to the VAERS system, and you have 3 years for an injury. So just so you know for that. But yeah, so that's the VAERS system, the real basics. Let me know if you have questions, and I can walk you through personally if you have specifics of what you want to do. And let me stop share and stop the video. And again, my name is Abby. Let me know if you have questions about the VAERS. I'll teach you how to do it on your specific questions if you have that. Thanks.